Yeah, now we're going to work on it because things will come to mind. I can't see them as a look anything, and that's okay. We've got this bar graph shows, now that's third person singular, yes? Because that's third person singular, it's an it. I, you, he, she, it. This bar graph, third person singular, the verb will contain the S. Yep, two categories, from and to and between and. So from 2006 to 2010, or between 2006 and 2010. Now you're going to get highly accurate at this. This is the kind of language that's very useful. Now, if you want to take a screenshot at any stage, please go ahead and do it, because you can use the data. Yeah, use the language, write it out on a piece of paper, use it to teach students specifically. It doesn't have to be on this slide. Yep, and the language is yours. We don't own the language. We just put it there because we know it's useful. So, and now we're going to use that kind of language to help us describe the relationship between bits of information in a visual image. Yeah, cool. Okay, I've got it. Now you might write that out by hand because you're now going to try to commit those phrases to memory to use. So it's just like new language, and it's language, contextual language specific to describing images. Right, now, what we structure here is a response in 40 seconds. Now, so what we're teaching is, we're teaching grammar and vocabulary and learning it. We're also teaching test skills so we can perform in a limited amount of time. Now, this is a model answer, and it's got an introduction, it's got highest and lowest points and one more feature, and then it's got a prediction. And it could have been any one of these three. So just use your eyes to read along while we listen to this. And if you can't hear it, let me know, but I think it should have been shared properly. In actual fact, I think it was, so I'll share it again. Yeah, good. Okay. It's logic. Now what we're learning here is a teacher who makes a mistake in the middle of a lesson technically has to work out what's being shared where, particularly when they're using a new computer. So there it is there. Phew, that worked. Now you always solve the problem, so always stay calm when the technology goes wrong because you'll use your logic to work it out, and often the students will help you. So that's always good to know. Okay, so listening to the recording of the model answer and reading through as the audio plays.
This bar graph shows book sales in two categories from 2006 to 2010. The highest gross earnings over the period were consistently for non-fiction books, while the lowest earnings were for fiction. Earnings in both categories were highest in 2007. Apart from 2007, non-fiction earnings were relatively consistent, while fiction sales fluctuated. In conclusion, it could be predicted that with present pressure on education, non-fiction books will continue to sell well.
Yeah, okay, so that's an analysis. She's made sense of the visual data by describing it, using that structure. So is that clear, Julie and Dung? Yeah, and Gigi, that's what we're trying to do. Yep, is to structure our information so that we can present the data in a short amount of time. Because once you start doing it, I know you're excellent at English, excellent. But what will happen is, even though we're excellent at English, we trip over ourselves trying to get the information out in a short amount of time. And that's been the lived experience as well, is that fluent English language speakers still need a structure on test day in order to be able to do the response. So perform the response. Now let's have a look at this. So just cast your eyes over this for 30 seconds. Beautiful. Now again, you're most welcome to take a screenshot with your camera or with your computer so that you can use this information afterwards by repurposing it for your own teaching. Okay. Cool. Now, we're going to have a look at this. I'm going to ask you to fill in the gaps with words. Do this gap fill exercise. First of all, have a look at the graph for just a few seconds, 10 or 15 seconds. And then I'm going to ask you to do the gap fill exercise using your language skills accurately. Okay, so in the chat box, writing out the words that are missing in the order. Now again, it's about speed of making decisions, choices, accurate choices at speed. Here we go, away you go.
And hide, steadily,
Constant.
relatively constant, that
Can.
word,
Can.
it can, hết rồi đúng không?
Hết rồi.
Good work. Now the thing you're going to we're all going to get conscious at too is, yeah, brilliant, is being aware of time. So part of our perception is the clock ticking. Now again, these are test scenarios. So in teaching class time, this may take 5 minutes. Beautiful. In test time, we're asked to take 30 seconds to make those choices. So everything we do slowly, accurately, we're going to speed up the mental processing to get to test conditions. But you don't have to be in test conditions on day one. If you're trying to get to test conditions maybe 3 or 4 weeks into a program. But you've got high-level language skills, and you're going to use strategies to speed up. Cool. And we'll work on those all the way through as well. So there it is there. So just have a check of that. Read it through to sense that it makes sense to you.
Cái này mà liền cho mấy bạn bán mới lâu rồi.
Bán buồn hàng đó.
Mình vẫn là dư rồi đó, lâu á.
Yeah.
Chứ phải chi.
Good work. So, yeah, part of the digital skills is getting our fingers to work as fast as our thoughts can while there are distractions going on. Some of us are very, very good at it, and we're going to continue to get better. Industrial strength digital skills. So, long term. One thing to do is to read aloud sometimes, as well as to read softly, in order to hear that those words make sense in that order. Now, what also happens is that you hear the connotations over the period, for example. Increase steadily over the period is very useful, increase steadily over the period, to describe a number of things that we can visualize, we can see in front of us. So, relatively constant. So, these are collocations or words that go easily together that when we read out loud, we put in our memory as well. So learning new vocabulary, however we've done it in the past, is the same today. We familiarise ourselves with it and then we use it. Hopefully that was useful. It is useful because it's context-specific language for this particular context. All right, framework. Again, screenshot if you want. Now, some of you we've got photos of everybody on it, so hopefully if you minimise the camera on your side, you can remove the camera, other people's faces if you want to. But there's the framework that you're going to use repeatedly. Introduction, body and conclusion. Title and x-axis, 3 key features, and conclusion. And that's what you tell yourself, and that's what you tell your students. And then on test day, you use it, and you realise it worked. Title and x-axis, low point, high point, one other, and conclusion. Now, test day, we can simulate test day every day. Okay, by doing the task. So it applies to bar graphs, pie charts, maps, and combinations of images as well. We're going to do one. You've got 25 seconds to prepare and then 40 seconds to speak. All right, you know the method? If you don't, you're going to suddenly not. You're going to remember it. So if we go back just one slide, that's the method. Title and x-axis, 3 key features and conclusion. So we're going to lock the structure in and we're going to practice it. And then we're going to practice repeatedly and get good. Okay, 25 seconds to prepare and 40 seconds to speak. All good? Everybody give it a go. Your time starts now.
Corresponding the high key sales. là constantly for cái gì đây, romance and the lowest, thấp nhất là đến nào ta,
Văn
No, speaking.
sci-fi fantasy. Chứ lại nói cái này block cho ấy thì conclusion. Ui, cũng căng đó. Cũng phải học nhiều đó.
Nhìn
Phải
biết
học
biết
nhiều
đó
đó.
luôn.
Việt trên con
Việt
đây
có
đây
lên
ngồi
đây.
trong mấy giấy hay
Cũng phải
hả?
học nhiều ấy. Dày được 30, 40 có là cũng nhanh đúng không? Học tù cũng học được.
Okay, now when you first start doing it, it's not that easy. Julie, did you find that easy? Okay. Can you tell us? Can you unmute for a sec? I think you said no. But did you find that easy?
Not really.
Not really. No, not really is okay, because not really is a little bit. Okay, so what it means, and not really is an excellent response, because it means early, it means familiar, you can do it, but you've got room for improvement. So you're going to improve through practice until you get excellent at it. So if we have a look at the sample answer, we're just going to read it and listen at the same time, and your length of sentence and type of language will be equivalent of this as well. So just reading. In fact, I'm going to ask Julie to read this out loud.
Đây nói trong mấy giấy
40 giây ghi trong 25 giây. Học sinh em
This
mất
diagram
20 phút.
represents the gross earnings from fiction
40
books
giây đọc
sold
không
from
hết mà chị
2006
repeat
to 2010
read aloud đọc 40 giây
classification.
là mất từng
The
giây.
list gross earnings
Chắc là
were
tôi
mostly
nhìn
from
trừ
the
đọc
sale
á.
of science fiction and fantasy over the time period. Whereas were the constantly highest gross earning genre. Mystery was the next highest earning fiction genre, about 75% of financial sales.
Đó là
Overall,
đang
we
nói
can say
đọc
that
còn
romance
chưa
fiction
hiểu.
is the most popular and highest grossing fiction book type, while science fiction and fantasy remain a fiction form bound to be
Cũng kịp 40 giây đọc hết từng đi
Beautiful
cũng hết.
work. Okay, now we're going to practice reading those kind of model answers out. Now we notice that there is the superlative there, the most popular. Yep. And so we look at the grammar that's used in these as well. Analyze the grammar, analyze the vocabulary, reproduce it in the amount of time, and then we've done the job. Excellent. Now remember we work on content, fluency, and pronunciation. Now, didn't mean to leave that in there. Now, this paragraph shows the least about climate change across a range of occupations and groups. So just spend 30 seconds looking at the data to think about the kind of language
cái là
you
giảm, một
use to
cái là
describe
dao
what you
động
can
mà.
see. Don't have to type it,
Happen,
just think it.
but nature happen, but human nature.
Cái như là
Language train.
một đối tượng với nhiều ấy.
Nhưng
Đây là
đó.
một đối tượng này không có giảm tăng là
Đúng rồi, nó không có
So
giảm
sánh
tăng,
luôn.
so sánh. Nó không đọc ra cái đừng
Mình
lưỡi
không
cái
nhìn
gì
được,
luôn.
không khối từ đi nhỏ thôi.
Thôi cao nhất thấp
Dư
nhất.
đi.
Với
Như
chả
tim
có
vậy,
cái
những
này
cái
cao
này
hơn
là-
apart from hai cái này thế này.
Apart from bla 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 thì the
Hai cái này
remain
cao hơn. Remain hai cái đen cái này nè. Với hai cái figure là đấy thấp nhất là đâu?
Awesome. Okay, now
Bang, cái cuối.
start to look at it.
The
We've
last.
got these kind of phrases
Oh.
happening, yeah? So just go back.
What?
Oh no, in fact there it is
No.
there. So we're looking, that's the kind of language we're seeing. This is the phrase we're seeing in the graph. So least likely, smallest amount, smallest number, highest number of. Yep. So we're looking at, because we're making comparisons across the data. Beautiful. Now you're most welcome to take a screenshot of everything and recycle it. And repurpose it, use it, become familiar with it, memorize it. Great. All right, now here's a model answer here
Screenshot ở đây rồi.
that will again
Đó, cái
describes the data in
nhận
front
cái
of
cây
us
là
there.
được.
Phải càng
Không
càng
cân. Đó, nhận cái đó.
mẹ chỉ xin đó, mẹ nó phải cắn trống.
cả cái hình nữa chứ.
Không, chắc cái nữa là hình screen được. Cái gì á? Rồi em muốn chụp chi?
Bị ra gì hả?
Rồi đây.
Need to unmute.
Cái vô
This
cái
paragraph shows the list about climate change across the range of occupational groups. The highest number of people who believe that climate change is happening and is human included and university scientists, environmental groups and environmental scientists like car companies and oil companies are the least likely to be believed that it is human
Ôi gì?
included.
Còn về bay Lam rồi đi chị, về bay
Car companies and car
Giờ
companies will
5
also
đến
be
7 đúng
least
không?
likely
5 đến 7
to
thì
be
nhanh đúng
believed
không?
that climate change is happening
Nhiều
that
dữ
is
đấy.
natural.
And then there's a conclusion here now. Yep, away you go, because we're doing this down here. Yep. Yep.
And in conclusion, it should be predicted that oil company and car companies will continue to be the biggest
Climate
group
change
of climate
denial.
change.
Tư vừa khủng quá à.
Khùng ấy. Đu vào đó.
Good work. Now, what happened there was, early days again, like Julie said, how did you find it? Now, you've got 40 seconds to deliver that kind of information. Now, what will happen is it won't be as transcripted like this, which is by we're trying to over model, model perfection, which nobody does really on the day. But you will follow the structure, and you will make grammatically correct sentences, and you will make comparisons and observations and accurate data. So, but you've got to do it in 40 seconds. So what will happen is, as we keep going, is that you will find that you've got to speed up. So you will have to speed up the rate of delivery, and you'll have to go from 0 to producing information in 40 seconds. So that's what we're tested on. What do I do? That's what you do. Context, actions, 3 key features, and conclusion. You have introduction, body, and conclusion. So you've got it memorized, and then you're applying that superstructure to the data in front of you. Okay, we're going to do this one. Are you ready? 25 seconds to prepare, and then one of you is going to present your answer back, and we're going to